How did a Roman emperor, a man ruling the most powerful empire on earth, become someone who feared nothing, not even death itself? This is the story of Marcus Aurelius, but it's not just a tale of battles, politics, or power. It is the story of a man who learned to govern something far more chaotic than an empire, his own mind. In an age of constant war, political betrayal, and a devastating plague, Marcus Aurelius carved his name into history not through conquest, but through philosophy. He became the philosopher king, not because destiny handed him a throne, but because wisdom gave him mastery over himself. What made him so extraordinary wasn't an absence of fear, but his ability to look fear directly in the eye and dissolve its power. He knew life was fragile, unpredictable, and often merciless. Death could come for anyone, emperors included. Yet, while other rulers trembled before life's uncertainties, Marcus stood still, unshaken, grounded in reason and virtue. He didn't fear death, loss, or misfortune because he built his life on something no external force could ever take away: the discipline of his thoughts, the clarity of his purpose, and the courage to live with integrity. Behind the marble statues and golden crowns was a human who struggled, doubted, and suffered just like us. But through relentless introspection, he discovered what it means to be truly free. This is the story of how he did it, and how we, centuries later, can use his wisdom to transform our own lives. From his childhood, Marcus Aurelius was introduced not to luxury, but to discipline. He slept on a simple bed, trained his mind more than his body, and learned early that comfort weakens a person while hardship forges character. His tutors taught him ethics instead of indulgency, and reason over royal excess. So when he inherited the throne, he saw it not as a gift, but as a test. And what a test it was. War erupted across the empire's borders. The devastating Antonine plague wiped out millions. Corruption and loyalty clashed within his own court, and personal loss struck him again and again, taking people he loved dearly. Yet, he did not collapse beneath the weight of it all. Instead, night after night, in dimly lit military tents and quiet palace chambers, he wrote. He recorded his thoughts in a private journal never meant for the world, a journal we now know as Meditations. In its pages, he reminded himself that a ruler is a servant of reason, not a prisoner of fear. His core philosophy was simple yet profound. You cannot control the world around you, but you can always control your mind's interpretation of it. Death is not a curse. It is a natural, unavoidable event. The only true disaster is a corrupted character. Through this lens, Marcus Aurelius became something rare, a leader who ruled not by emotion or intimidation, but by understanding the impermanence of all things. He wasn't born fearless. He became fearless because necessity demanded it. The chaos of his time forced him to confront life's harshest truths, and philosophy became his shield. So, what were the motivations that forged this unshakable mind? First, he saw life itself as his greatest teacher. Marcus was surrounded by death from a young age. He lost his parents, siblings, and many of his own children. Instead of falling into despair, he viewed mortality as a powerful reminder. Every moment is temporary. Every life is on loan. To cling desperately to what you have is to suffer. To accept its fleeting nature is to breathe freely. That taught him not to fear, but to cherish, to act now, to be good now, to live now. Second, he was driven by duty over desire. Marcus never wanted to be emperor, but when the responsibility fell to him, he bore it not as a privilege, but as a service. The fate of millions rested on his shoulders. Avoiding that duty was never an option. This sense of responsibility strengthened him, grounding him in something far larger than his own personal feelings. Third, he pursued virtue as his ultimate goal. While other rulers chased glory, wealth, or power, Marcus sought wisdom, self-control, justice, and courage. These virtues, he knew, could not be destroyed by war, sickness, or even death. By anchoring his identity in his character, he built a fortress that no external event could ever breach. And finally, he practiced acceptance of nature's law. To Marcus, the universe does not bend to our wishes. It follows its own unchangeable course. To fight against reality is to create your own suffering. To cooperate with it is to find peace. This acceptance liberated him from the anxiety of trying to control the uncontrollable. These motivations forged a man who didn't escape suffering but learned to transcend it. He didn't write for fame or legacy, His words were private reminders to himself, yet they became one of humanity's greatest guides to mental strength. And his advice is as sharp today as it was 2,000 years ago. Here are some of his core lessons. First, master your mind, and the world cannot break you. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Control your interpretation, and you control your emotional world." Second, fear dissolves when you face the truth. Death is inevitable. Loss is inevitable. Change is inevitable. To deny these truths is to live in constant fear. To accept them is to live with freedom. Third, focus only on what you can control. Your thoughts, your actions, your character, these are yours. Everything else are other people's opinions. Your health, your wealth is not. Peace begins the moment you stop wasting energy on what doesn't belong to you. Fourth, live according to virtue, not impulse. A person's true worth is measured by their character, not their external success. Do the right thing because it's right, not because you expect a reward. And fifth, take each day as a life in itself. Don't postpone your purpose. Don't wait to become the person you want to be. Time is not guaranteed, so virtue must be practiced today. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius isn't meant for passive admiration. It's meant for active application. We can adopt his habits right now to build our own courage and resilience. Here's how. First, practice daily reflection. Spend a few minutes each day identifying your fears, frustrations, and desires. Ask yourself where these emotions come from and whether they truly deserve to have power over you. Second, repeat the Stoic reminder, "This is not under my control." When you feel yourself starting to worry, mentally divide the situation into two categories, what you can control and what you cannot. Then, put all your energy only into the first. Third, welcome discomfort as training. Choose small challenges. Wake up a little earlier, resist an indulgence, or tackle the hardest task first. Hardship builds inner strength. Constant comfort creates weakness. Fourth, think about mortality not to be grim, but to live more deeply. Let the awareness of life's impermanence sharpen your focus. Love your people more fiercely. Use your time more meaningfully. Don't waste your one precious life just waiting. And finally, act with virtue regardless of the circumstances. If the world is unjust, remain just. If others are cruel, remain kind. If fortune turns against you, remain steady. Your character is your unbreakable fortress. Marcus didn't live to impress the world. He lived to fulfill his duty. Let your own mission guide you, not the fleeting opinions of others. History remembers emperors who conquered nations and warriors who spilled oceans of blood. But Marcus Aurelius is one of the few who conquered the most difficult territory of all, the human soul. He proved that true greatness isn't built on external power, but on inner wisdom and self. He showed the world that the most invincible person is not someone born without fear, but someone who has trained their mind to understand fear and strip it of its power. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that life is short, uncertain, and impossible to control. But that doesn't make it hopeless. It makes it precious. It makes it urgent. It makes it meaningful. The key to peace and courage lies not in changing the world, but in changing yourself. In every human struggle, his message echoes through time. You cannot control what happens, but you can always control how you meet it. This is how Marcus Aurelius became the philosopher king, not because he ruled an empire, but because he ruled himself. And anyone who chooses to practice his wisdom can walk the same path to freedom from fear. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, make sure to like and subscribe for more lessons from history's greatest minds.